Hello, y'all. Hello, YouTube. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make this a little bit more higher here because where I'm sitting at, I'm just going to try to make this a little bit more better so that way y'all can see it or whatever instead of seeing my burnt curtains. My curtains are burnt. I don't know why. Probably from that heater on the ground. So, hello, everyone. Um, Thank you for tuning in or whatever. And I'm not used to being on here. I don't have any makeup nor hair or anything like that. But I come here to talk about some really serious issues about um, my son or whatever. I know who's popping in. That's the feds that's popping in because they don't ever stay. They'll come in and look and then they'll leave. So um, I know I ain't looking like nothing. This eventually I will start doing my hair and makeup and all that. But welcome to S2 Flashy Media. This is my son's channel, and I'm just getting it started for him because I have a lot to say about this U.S. government. And so the topic is about our birth certificates. And I'm going to keep that short, but me and my son been talking about birth certificates over the last year and a half. Even though I didn't put that in the description, I might change it. But black people with our birth certificates and the ones that uh, got caught up in the loop of this genocide, federal government, non consent, guinea pig program. Okay, and I'm calling it a program. Excuse me. I'm just getting over a cold. So, what happens is, me and my son knew that it was something about the birth certificate or whatever because the birth certificate that they gave me from the hospital wasn't really the birth certificate that they had given me that they given me for my two other births that I had for with my two older sons. So we compared those to the hospital birth certificate, and then we compared them to the original birth certificate that you get from the Secretary of State birth certificate records or whatever records of state or whatever county or whatever. So me and him has been talking about it, and that was really heavily on his mind. So now that we know, we didn't know that if your birth certificates are in all caps, that everything is in all caps, that's fictitious because nobody names is in all caps. So this is what they don't tell you, that it's a fictitious birth certificate. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't even really mean that you are alive. You practically have a dead death birth certificate. So what we're going to do is figure out what we've been told is that you're supposed to have so many signatures on the back of this birth certificate. And far as to my knowledge, one of them was from the Secretary of State. Another one, it was like a stamp and a signature, and then the other one was from the Department of State. So I never knew that, and nobody ever goes around talking about birth certificates. You just say, hey, I just had a kid, and I'm going to go get this birth certificate, or I'm going to go apply for this social security card. And back when I was having kids, you didn't do it online. You just, I mean, you probably could have, but I didn't know. But you go in, you apply for one, or I think I actually did it over the phone or something that around that time. So they never sent it. And so I was like, dang, his social security never came. So I had to reapply again. Excuse me. Get it sent again. And so I was like, okay, I'm, safe. But, it's always been on my mind that his social security birth certificate was used by somebody, and I don't know who it was. I just knew that it was being used. And so me and him didn't have this talk until about, he's 24 now, until about maybe 23, I would say, that, we started talking about his birth certificate. And I was just like, He was trying to make it make sense to me, but I'm like, this it makes sense that, but what do I need? We go get the birth certificate again. It's just like we're going to buy something again, and they're selling us the same thing again, you know. And so I was just like, well, that don't make sense to me. But what makes sense now that I've been told by someone who knows our story, somewhat of our story, I guess. He said that you have to have all these signatures on the back of your real birth certificate, because if you are not alive, you are not anything that's capable of being a human being in this world. So, I did some, research or whatever, and actually the research came to me. It was on Twitter, and it was just telling us about how back in the day, our birth certificates, they can just take our birth certificates and utilize it however they want. They can monetize on it. They can do whatever it is that they want it to do. So it's like it's the white people again. We all know that, and so they're monetizing off of our birth certificates by buying houses. Like they're using our stuff against us basically. They're like, oh, you'll stay poor for forever, and we're using your shit, and you don't have a choice. Like we're using it, and so they're using, whatever it is that they want. If they want cars in my name, if they want all my credit, they get all that. And I don't get any of it. So this is why we already, and it puts us in debt to the system, because this is why a lot of us don't make it out and we all want reparations and stuff like that, is because we're indebted into this system because they're already using our funds, our money, and on top of that, they came up with a system through NASA, through DARPA, CIA, NSA, FBI. It's a gang stalking program, and it's an electronic um, program too, electronic technology program where they hit you with weapons, and the weapons is MK Ultra. That's a mind manipulation thing. V2K. Um, that's another one. What else? It's they take your metadata on top of this so they can suppress you so you can't talk. They basically censored you. So, I don't have anybody coming to my pages. I should have like over 100,000 on my business page, and I don't. I should be getting at least 10,000 a month from YouTube, and I'm not. And my son should be too, because he's a creator. So they put us in debt, and until we figure this out, I'm not scared of nobody. And I'm going to fight this all the way, because I'm not going to sit here and let them hit my son with energy weapons. And every single time, you know, I'm dying every day. I might die before him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not condoning in this. I don't think it's okay. You don't get to hit me with energy weapons. You don't get to torture me. You don't get to rape me with these type of tools. You don't get to take my metadata and my data, celebrities, Judy, um, Miami Bling, or whatever. You don't get to take my data, the ladies that's using my data for my beauty, and the men are starting to use my data for their beauty supplies. I see this. And so the celebrities, you guys don't get to use our data. And so, along, I, digress, but along with the metadata, what I said earlier, it was the technology weapons, and I named two. And so they're, DARPA's using it, I know, because they can hit you from 60, I think they said it's from 60 miles away. They can hit you with these energy weapons. And so the 5G, all it is the energy weapon, because they can hit you through your phone, hit you through any of your electronics through that. So what it is our location data was sold. And so anybody and everybody can come around here and hit us or whatever. But this has been, the CIA, they know about this now. And it's coming out now, and it's finally coming out. And, I don't want to say that it's going to come out before it's too late, because then they got everybody up under their rule of thumb. And then once, you got this whole crew that's over all these people, then what do you do then? You know what I'm saying? You got this whole crew, and they're like, oh, they don't want to give up because DARPA. I just found out tonight. One of my groups sent me a, a document on Mental of DARPA, and it just talks about it in code. You know, about how they're hitting us with these weapons, and these airplanes that you see, these are jets, and these jets that me and my son we see, I've taken pictures of them. Like, they're way, way, way up in the sky, so you can't really see them, but they drop in chemtrails. And so, I mean, and they're like way up in the sky because I was looking, but they're smaller, and so they showed it to me, and I'm like, yep, that's exactly what they were. So then they showed me some that had bombs on them or whatever. So what it is, you know, it's DARPA. They're part of the military because they, you know, the intel and all that, what they use, all these high technology tools and all that, and you know, all this engineering and all that stuff that they use or whatever. I know I'm jumping the gun, but I'm just trying to explain to y'all that DARPA is basically the internet. And before DARPA is NASA. So it's NASA, it's DARPA, you know, in the military between the both, they both work with DARPA and um, these two infantries or whatever, they work together. And a lot of these people, they send their kids to DARPA. Mark Zuckerberg, he went to DARPA, and they learn like these killer like tactics or whatever, and they are trained to be killers from young children. This is what they're learning because this is what their parents put them in. You know, their parents wanted them to be the head of everything. So their parents put them into these programs. And you know, my grandfather was in the military, so I know somewhat, you know, some knowledge about it. But what happens is, let's say he was my father. He's not my father, but if you know, let's say he was my father. Well, if they came to him and said, Mr. James, you know, we want your daughter to be a part of this program, he's like, no, you know, I can't have my daughter a part of no killer program. What they do, if your kids don't want to be a part of the program, then they put you into this program that they harass you with these tools. So you could be outside, you can hear all this noise, you could be outside, they could be hitting you energy weapons inside too. Now they figured out a way to hit you inside. The first time I was hitting my neck, and I was going to lunch with these white ladies, and that's what I get. You know, they probably was fucking me up, and I didn't even know. Excuse my language, but um, and so I noticed every time it would probably be outside that it was happening to me, but it does just go back to if my grandfather was my dad, he would put me in this program, and I would be learning all of these military tactics and trainings and all this abusive, you know, training. And you know, the military, they do abusive training. That's, you can't say that they don't. These people are ready, you know, and a lot of times they are very abusive. And what happens is, because I've seen it before, I've seen, you know, I've had military friends, and I've seen how abusive it was, and you know, even towards me. And I was like, oh, I can't have these people, I can't be around these people, because it was just like 10 times the abuse. So I'm not saying all of them or whatever, but a lot of them, they come out, they veterans, they messed up, they can't work in the public. So you know, they put their kids in this program, they already messed up. So then they put the kids in the program, and the kids is already messed up from them being messed up, you know, mentally. So then they put them in this program, and it's not even a big deal for the kids to go ahead and use these tools because, first of all, Americans, we are protected. Okay, we are precious, and I'm not saying no other country is not precious, but we are the most precious human beings on this earth. In the United States of America, we are supposed to be so protected. But these people, they got tired of fighting out, and so they figured, hey, if we get these, you know, these federal contracts, we can stay here, and we can just train our kids, and we can get, you know, these FBI jobs, DOJ jobs. You know, they started transferring into these jobs, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, which they always want to say diversity, equity, and inclusion is for, you know, black people, you know, getting us jobs and stuff like that or whatever. Okay, granted, y'all got 500 years on us with education. So if there are some things we don't know, a lot of us can learn. It's not like we're stupid people, because a lot of us have built things from scratch, like bulbs, light bulbs and all kind of stuff, engines and stuff like that. We were the first creators of this, a lot of these things, chairs, whatever. So by that being said about the kids, they instill these wicked ways into the kids in these abusive ways. So now here it is that our kids are getting harassed by their kids, and so our kids is taking a hit because these kids ain't thinking. These kids ain't thinking. They don't have a brain. They've been trained. They even show it in the World Economic Forum that they was training these young white kids. These kids don't give a. They don't care. Let me tell you, these kids. You guys think that y'all some gangsters out there running around with guns? They got bigger ammunition. Okay, they got hardcore ammunition, silent weapons that will whoop your mother ass, and you won't even know it. If you can't figure this out, me and my son have to figure this out. So what it is was they took all of his rights and they basically put us into modern day slavery. And there's a YouTuber by the name of Mercy. Her name is Scorpio Intuitions. She's a part of this program. And I watched her. I did my own like research, and I like watched her for about a year, right? And I just was listening to what she was saying. So a lot of her people that follow her are either these DARPA kids, and some of them might be her age, but I don't think like she's like 38. I just think that she's just one of those. She's like part African and part Jamaican, she said. So I no offense to y'all, but some of this, some of these countries be having communists, in there. And so she may have been, it just might just have been embedded in her from birth, this communism thing, like because she believes in it. However, I was learning a lot from her, but she was in my business because she got my data, so she's thinking, you guys are thinking that she's telling you about your life as a card reader, but she's really got the knowledge from the inside. Like she's really in her drone, in your business, in your house. Like, anyways, so with this program, I'm on a whole monitoring system. Okay, they monitoring me from the jail. And so the jail is just basically having a good time raping me and my son because I'm here in this apartment. And they know that, my income is limited. They waited till I got broke. And so when I got broke is that's when they came in and they went hard, and that's when they isolated me and my son. It wasn't until I had money, but I knew some stuff was going on with my body and I was getting hit, but I was like, oh, maybe that's just my blood boiling and I'm just getting old, and my blood, my leg feeling like it's just moving. Maybe, I need to stop eating so much sugar and start exercising. And, you know, I was like, I just started, but let me tell y'all something, black people and white people, Americans, okay? Y'all better get it together. Y'all better get and let's push back. Because if we don't, just like that man Claus, whatever his name is, Claus or whatever, Claus or whatever his name is, Shaw Claus, I don't know, that runs the World Economic Forum, and Bill Gates, and the globalists, the people that have the money, the Rothschilds, the Illuminati, and all that. Let me tell you, these motherfuckers is here. They're here. Okay? They have been harassing me and my son. Mind you, my son is a public figure, and they took those rights away because my son would have had it too easy. Right now, he'd be sitting on 100 million easy, easy. Okay, but those kids, they wanted his data, his metadata, and his biometric physics. So your biometric physics is you. You're scanned in. Okay, you are a whole fucking scan. You are a whole artificial intelligence, facial recognition wherever you go. They put my son's face in this facial recognition. Okay. And everywhere we go, we're either getting hit with these weapons or we're being chased because our location data is open through Google. And I can't even stream on Apple because Apple took our data. We have no data on Apple. Everything has to be through Google because Google knows where we're at. You get it? So I can have like about 100,000, probably to 1 million people watching me easy, but they're not going to show the data. They're not going to show who's watching me. They come in, they got my account, they watching me. One person show up, and I could be talking to the wall right now for all I know. But I know they in here, and I know they see me because they always pop in as soon as I pop on live. But this is where I'm doing my videos, and I usually do my videos and upload them or whatever, so that way I can have my videos. You know, but I'm here on this panel, this channel, this profile because I want to get my word across today. Today I was so weak, and because I'm going through all of this, I got radiation in my house. They got the Venezuelans over there that came over here. They hitting us with radiation. You got I think these people are Peruvian or Ecuadorian downstairs. They hitting us. You got the people over here. They Hispanic, they Mexican. They hitting us. I call him El Chapo because he looked like El Chapo brother. So they over here, and before, our apartments wasn't biased towards people, but they wouldn't let the rich kids in here because they wanted to come in here into these apartments. This is like dorm style living. That's what my son told me. They would not let them in here. They would not let anybody who made over like 50 grand live here. And so those people got mad. And so they orchestrated um, how to get their kids here. So I live around the corner from the Blazers and Blazers basketball team and where they practice at. And my son went to some of their camps, and they all, and I work for them too. Not that particular place, but I work for where they have the basketball games and um, through my union. And so, however, there's some apartments across the street up there. And so my son said he looked them up, and those apartments like $10,000 a month. And it makes sense because the practice facility is across the street and the feds is up there. You know, they're up there, and I don't know why they up there because it's not a lot of business over here in this area unless they're working from home. And a lot of them could be working from home. A lot of them could be owners. A lot because it's a mall up there, so a lot of them could be owners and they can own that shit up there. And so I live in a 15-minute city, and I can walk everywhere. I mean, I have everything over here: the library, the pharmacies. I have like 4 grocery stores. One, two, three, 4, 5. I got about 5 grocery stores. Of course, we got the mall. We got restaurants. We have the buses come right outside of my. Um, Hello. The buses come right outside my apartment. I got like 2 or 3 buses. We have the express bus. We have um, the what is it? The train that comes by here. Um, we have um, a lot of traffic coming through here. We have in the back a lot of warehouses where a lot of the men and a lot really is a lot of men and a lot of Hispanics they work back there in the warehouse. Excuse me. They have lots of jobs back there in Sherwood, and downtown is not that far. So 15-minute cities, what it is they want people out of, especially the black people. They want us out, and so we live on a river. You know, the white people they love that they be canoeing and all kind of stuff back there, but they little boats and stuff is more and more and more every year for the last 3 years. Has been more and more and more. They just having a good time in that dirty water down there. They don't care. But that's why they want to live here, so that way they can party hardy and their kids can live here. And also they want the illegal immigrants to live here as well, because they getting all that money and they want me out. They can really charge them more on the under, they can charge them more. But they're getting money from the feds here. And they tapped and wired my apartment here. So, I mean, you see stories like that, and eventually I'm hoping that my story make it out, that we are tapped and wired, and this is espionage. It's up under 702 FISA, foreign intelligence, surveillance. We are not illegal immigrants. We shouldn't have never, like, they say up under 702 FISA, if you are coinciding or whatever it is, if you're talking to somebody that is out of the country and they're terrorists, then that makes you a, I forgot what you call it, but accomplice, I guess. And so, you know, they put my son on these servers that was in Mexico, that was in the UK. So of course he's talking to people that is out of. He doesn't know who he's talking to, not at